Welcome to this week's episode of LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh Morgan, and this is the show where we talk about things that you, our viewers in London and southwestern Ontario, are talking about. One of the things that we've been talking about for a long time in this area is how community comes together for good. And there are so many wonderful members of our community that take the initiative. They see a need in the community and they bring people together to fill that need. And let's talk about one of those people today. One of those people is a friend of mine. His name is Jeremy McCall. He is the founder, and I guess still the leader, of Dad Club. So I want our viewers to know more about Dad Club, and so that's why I invited Jeremy to come on the show today. So thanks for being here, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
When I first heard about Dad Club, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought, what a great resource, in particular for dads who maybe are in the situation that my ex-husband was in, which was he's the parent of some girls, and maybe there are issues that he could really use some help with in terms of talking to other dads about, things that girls might be going through that it's pretty, it's a no-brainer for me, but maybe like this would be a tough thing for him to talk to me about, and maybe, having a resource that you can just talk to other dads would be a great thing for him to have. But Dad Club is, and I know I reached out to you at that time, but Dad Club is a lot of things. So it fills those kind of needs but all kinds of needs just about relationships for dads. So Dad Club, your ideas.
Yeah, so when I was about to have my first kid in 2013, I was terrified because the idea of being in charge of a small, vulnerable life is really kind of overwhelming. And I came from a background with, divorced parents and a lot of moving around. And I reached out to a friend at work and I said, I'm about to have my first kid. My friends are all out right now partying probably. I need to get some new friends. Let's go out for a beer and chat. And he said, sure, absolutely. He brought 2 other friends along. And I just said, what am I signing up for? And we spent the next couple hours kind of chatting about everything, and at some point I said, oh, this is really nice, and somebody else said, yeah, we should make this a regular thing, and I said, oh, like a club? He said, yeah, Dad Club, and that's really how Dad Club began. And we started with 4 of us around a table. Within a month we had 50 members, and then within a year we had over 1,000, and then just kind of kept growing from there. 3 years in, it became a registered nonprofit so that we could do things like get insurance, host events, and have a bank account and all that sort of stuff, and then it just kept growing from there. And as people came together, you get collective ideas around a table. Someone says, hey, what do you think about this? And someone else says, that sounds awesome. And then all of a sudden you're running with it. And next thing you know, you're raising like $50,000 for a special project and creating some tremendous change in the community. So it's really been a cool experience to be behind.
Amazing. So it started out with just dads needing to be able to talk to other dads. I know, when you're a mom, you have the baby, you're in the hospital, there's a lot of support and a lot of things that kind of automatically get put into place. You can go to play groups, you have your, other girlfriends that maybe had kids around the same time as you, or maybe older sisters. Maybe your mom is going to support you in that way. But for people, maybe this is tougher for dads, right, to build those kind of relationships. But also, I don't think there are as many resources that just kind of automatically kick in when you become a dad. Is that right?
There really aren't any that I know of, at least. When we were having our first kid, we went to the classes they do to be prepared for delivering, and I put on like the maternity suit to have the empathy of what it felt like to have a baby in your belly, and we practiced the breathing, but nobody really talked about what it was for me to expect. And I think we're moving towards a position where it's not the 1950s anymore. Dad doesn't go to work all day in the coal mine, come home and stare at the TV and not talk to his family. And now dads have an active role. They take on a lot more parenting duties. They take on a lot more chances to support their partners and their own dreams and their own ambitions. And it's really more of an equal playing field. And I think once people get past that first awkward step of feeling vulnerable and admitting they might not be fully confident in what they're doing, the whole world of opportunity opens up at that point. And it becomes really fun, actually. So
yeah, well, my favorite job for sure is being a mom. So I assume that's probably one of your favorite jobs, or maybe you don't even think of it as a job, but it's definitely a responsibility. And so I guess those relationships that you've been able to build over the years, it's really helping other guys like you, other dads who maybe are feeling lost or not knowing what to do, just to really bounce ideas off each other. Is there like a little bit of a mentoring aspect, like the older dads or
Absolutely. So this past year, we actually started our first official mental health support group for men to talk about issues related to men and parenting and relationships. It's actually facilitated by 2 registered social workers who got permission from their college to donate their time in the community and to facilitate a positive, meaningful environment. And other than that, really kind of around the clock, we're always connecting with each other online. People are throwing out ideas. Hey, has anyone ever experienced this with their kid? Why won't my baby sleep? My son's having a problem at school with bullies. And you have a whole field of men who've been through that experience themselves, and they can share what worked for them, what didn't work for them. Or they could even just say, hey, I've been there before. It's terrifying. You'll get through this. And just knowing that your problems are normal problems and that they're not irregular, overwhelming, cannot be solved problems, it makes people feel a lot more confident in the roles that they take on.
So how do you stay in contact with the other dads that are involved with Dad Club? And then maybe if somebody is watching who's never heard of Dad Club and is sitting there right now thinking, God, I could really use to talk to these dads.
Sure. So at one point, we just kind of ran with it as we went, and we got almost so big it was overwhelming. We had close to 4,000 members, got a little bit chaotic, so we became a lot more structured. Now it's obviously free to join. All you have to do is you have to register through our website, where we have a big button at the top that says Join Dad Club London. You just fill out some information, and then we'll reach out to you once we get it and just explain where we go from there. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter that are going 24/7, 365. And then we have a lot of events. Prior to COVID, we were having about 110 events per year.
Oh my gosh.
So really, every week, there's at least 2 or 3 things that you could possibly find a relationship to. Maybe you like playing hockey. Maybe you like going for hikes with your kids. Maybe you like going to a playground. Maybe you want to come to like an indoor park takeover kind of thing. Just really, there's always something happening. We're kind of working back towards that right now. It got really bad in the first few years of the pandemic. Right now, we're at about 50 events a year because people are becoming more confident reaching out. But we also started a lot of online things as well. We started like an investing group. We started a video game club. We started monthly online poker nights, just to kind of, going with the flow and making sure people had an outlet to connect and to decompress and to go from there. And so really people get a newsletter every month just outlining this is what's going on. We focus on low cost and no cost. So most things we do are free. And if it does have a cost to it, it's just cost recovery. So if it's like $8 or $10 to get in kind of thing to the Children's Museum. And if people can't cover it, we also have a subsidy fund where you can just reach out and say, hey, I'd love to come. Can't cover it this month. No questions asked. Somebody will take care of it for you. So it's really nice because it builds a sense of equality. We have dads who own companies. We have dads who don't have jobs. And they can all come to the table and just kind of share resources and ideas as it relates to being dads.
That's fantastic. So when you're describing it, you said Dad Club London. So are most of the members from around here, or do you have people from all over the place now?
I think we went with Dad Club London just to kind of specify online where we were as people found us. It just turned out we got a lot of people from the UK reaching out all the time. I've been invited to
other London.
A lot of movie premieres. I've been given a lot of free things from stores I can't get to because they're on the other side of the ocean. But we really cover Strathroy to the west, up to Kincardine to the north. We have members coming to us from. And then to the east, we have some guys from Woodstock, some guys from Tillsonburg, even a guy from Brantford. He's like, I don't have any dad friends. I think you guys are awesome. I don't mind driving to come hang out. So he'll come in from there. And then kind of St. Thomas, Port Stanley area to the south. So really this whole kind of region, we all get together.
Okay, so it's social. Mm-hmm. There's that mentoring aspect. There's the mental health. There's practical, I guess, advice for dads. What about the fun side?
So we do a lot of kind of fun outings and whatnot. So we try to do a different hike every month in the hiking months because London has so many ESAs and trails and parks. We do various fitness activities. We'll do like dads and kids play soccer or those sorts of things. And then we try to do a lot of giving back to the community. A lot of, we live in a world where people never feel like they have enough because they're always surrounded by what they don't have. And it's good to be able to teach kids perspective by showing them what other people's lives are like. So we run fundraisers throughout the year. We've raised $174,000 over the last. We started in 2016 collecting money, and we give kids a chance to go out with the money we collect, buy something meaningful to somebody that doesn't have it, for instance, a winter jacket or some Christmas presents or even a meal. And then we involve our kids in actually presenting it to the people that are in need, because then they can see what's out there in the world and like how some people really do struggle and that there's an opportunity to make a difference.
Fantastic. Now, I know you have some fundraisers that are coming up in this season, but we do have to take a break. So hopefully, viewers, please stay with us, because we're going to have more with Jeremy McCall from Dad Club, and we're going to find out what I guess we can get involved with, get behind, and support in the next couple of months as we move into the winter season. So please stay with us. We'll be right back with more.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Carbon monoxide is a deadly gas you can't see, smell, or taste.
Homes with fuel-burning appliances and/or attached garages must have working CO alarms installed outside all sleeping areas.
Don't let the silent killer get you. Install working CO alarms today.
Hi, I'm Dan Mailer. I'm the host of London Lights, the show where we talk about notable Londoners who have made a big mark, big impact on the world of music, entertainment, sports, politics.
Long way from Nashville, and mama, I tell you that. Performed from Montreal to Boston to Los Angeles. But Toronto, that's my chosen home. Sure, when I'm walking down Yonge Street, I see some funny people who have the nerve to point the finger at me. And grin and smile and whisper. My song was #2 on local radio. Sold 10,000 in Toronto alone. Turned down Ed Sullivan because they asked me to remove my makeup. Wouldn't do American Bandstand because of their segregation policies. I was just being me. Never tried to explain myself to anyone. And besides, none of that to worry, Jackie, because I know I look good. Got a new way of loving, baby. Thought I want to teach it to you.
Jackie Shane was a pioneer transgender soul singer, a central figure in the Toronto R&B scene. She helped shape what we know as the Toronto sound.
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh, and I've been talking to my friend Jeremy McCall from Dad Club, founder and still member, who obviously you benefit a lot from being a member of the Dad Club as well. You've built a lot of relationships over the years from being a part of Dad Club. Maybe you learned a few things as well from the dads you've networked with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually turns out that really I started off this process not being super comfortable meeting strangers and, being as involved in the community as I have. And now, 9 years later, I actually work in employment services, helping people that are on ODSP in Ontario Works find jobs. And really, it turns out there's dads everywhere. And it's been almost a huge asset in my regular field of work just to know people that want to help other people and to help kind of get over those barriers and obstacles and help people reach their goals, despite whatever challenges they face along the way.
Fantastic. So in your work life as well as in your Dad Club life, giving back to the community is, I guess, a theme for you. And I know Dad Club right now, we were talking about it a little bit before the break, has a fundraiser and I guess an initiative that you're working on right now that you work on every year. And so maybe you can tell our viewers about that.
Sure. So we get requests all the time to help support things. And I mean, we would love to support everything we can. We try to focus on kids, poverty, immigrants, health, and then violence against women are kind of our major focuses. And so starting in 2016, my dad got really sick just before Christmas. He unfortunately passed away. My son was about to be born like 3 weeks later, so they just missed each other. And my dad was always a shirt off his back kind of guy. Like I literally saw him take his shirt off once and give it to somebody. And so once he passed, I had this whole house full of stuff that I really didn't need. And I thought a really cool way to honor him would be to just start selling it for whatever I could take for those items, and then to turn those items into Christmas gifts for kids. My dad was like a big kid on Christmas. He'd just be like so excited to watch people open things. And so in our first year of just selling off all his old stuff, I think we raised $6,000 or $7,000, and we were able to support, I think, 10 families with getting like a full Christmas that otherwise wouldn't have had anything. And then it became an annual thing. So, fast forward to 2021, our total so far is $29,910 in cash, plus just van loads of stuff. So I have a friend who runs an online store on Amazon, and he heard what we were doing. He said, "Can I drop off a donation?" I said, "Sure," thinking he'd come up with like a check or something. He rolls up with like a 15-passenger van, like a cargo van, whips the back doors open, and it's just full to the brim of things like toys, clothes, gifts, like Advil for kids, goods, like microwaves, like food processors, like anything you might buy on Amazon. This whole van was full to the brim. So we were able to set up a store in my garage, and we're able to just invite parents to come by to say, bring some bags, take what you want, and then the next person comes through and grabs what they want. I had single moms leaving with like giant hauler bags from No Frills stuffed to the brim and just like overwhelmed with emotion, just like the things they needed, just check off their list. And then once everyone had a chance to go through, there was still a minivan load of stuff remaining. So they were able to take it all to a daycare. And they were able to pass it on to the families that use their services, because they're mostly subsidy families that aren't able to pay full price. They were able to come through, get their own gifts for their own families, and just to keep the good cheer going. And so we're doing that once again this year as well.
So how's it going so far?
So fundraising wise, it's going okay. We're kind of around pace. Every year it's about $5,000 to $8,000 depending on how people are doing and what they want to share. I think we're crossed $2,000 in our first week, which is a great start. But the demand for our help is really way ahead of every other year. We all know the world's pretty wild right now. The economy's not good, unemployment's there, inflation's through the roof. I think we've already had 8 families apply, and they will continue to apply between now and when we close the application process. So really, we'll take whatever we can bring in and try to distribute that to as many families as possible.
So if we have viewers that would either like to donate cash, they maybe have toys, maybe they have some other gifts in kind that they could donate their time, how can they get involved?
So they can reach out through our social media or our website. Our website is dadclublondon.com. Our social media accounts are always at dadclublondon. And we will really take anything that's appropriate for Christmas. One family last year, they reached out, they said, our sons got old, they moved out, they graduated school, they're gone. We have thousands and thousands of dollars in finished whole Lego sets here. We don't want to throw them out. And I'm talking like you have like a 1,000-piece set just built sitting on a shelf. And she said, do you have anything you can do with them? I said, absolutely. So we took them all, we boxed them all up, and we gave them out to kids that wanted Lego for Christmas, right? As a 20-year like history of Lego toys, just kind of seeing them evolve over time, which is pretty cool. And really, so if it's anything that's, money, time, like you said, clothing, toys, anything that's in new condition or reusable condition, we're willing to take it and redirect it either to our own members, our own families that apply for help, or we have good relationships with all the local organizations that help as well. Salvation Army, Lifespin, Anova, all the places that people go to for help, we're there trying to help them too.
Fantastic. And then families that are looking to be a part of the program as well, potentially the same way.
Yeah, so I get an email last week from a mom saying, hey, we've actually had a good year this year despite everyone else's struggles. We want to give back. Is there something we can do? And I said, how do you feel about taking a family and sponsoring it? And so we would just give them the Christmas list. We give them the names, the age, or not the names, but the ages, the sexes, and what they're asking for. They can go out, they can shop for all the items that they can cover, bring them to us, and we'll help deliver that. So really, we're flexible to whatever people want to do. We'll find a way to involve them.
And when you say we, so how many people in Dad Club are volunteering like this? Is this part of being in Dad Club, is the volunteering, giving back? Yeah, so we have a 10-person board of directors that kind of manages the day-to-day operations. We decide how to spend the money, we decide the programs to run, and then if you contribute to a fundraiser, you're invited to take on as much as you're willing to do. So last year, for instance, we had 33 guys chip in money. We invited them to go to the mall and go shopping and to work through the lists and get all the toys. We gave them some porches to drop off the presents on their way home. We also did 120 gift bags last year for people on the streets, which included socks, hats, gloves, Tim Hortons gift cards, kind of all the essentials. And so we helped, everyone got a shopping assignment. We met at my house, we put them all in the bags. We met downtown and we hit the streets and we found people sleeping rough, gave them a gift. We had tables and wagons with like Tim Hortons, coffee, muffins. Somebody came with like 50 hot and ready pizzas that we're handing out. And it was almost just like a mobile gift giving express heading straight down Dundas through Oldies Village. So, and people brought their kids. Kids were fist bumping the people that we were helping, and everyone was just in a great mood. And it was a really cool experience to see. That's fantastic. So doing so much good, involved with so many people in the community. Now, one thing I know that you were working on recently as well is you became a politician this year. Tried to. Yeah. And so when you were visiting so many people at the doors, in which ward was it again? Ward 11. Ward 11. Yeah. Were people recognizing you? Because I know you're quite a
Yes.
you're quite a physical presence as well.
A lot of people said, whoa, you're the guy on the signs I saw on the side of the road. Or some people did already know who I was, which was actually kind of cool because it's never really been about the recognition for me, but just to kind of set a good example for my kids and then subsequently for my own kids that like no matter who you are, you can be something to other people, you can make an impact, you can give your abundance, and you can just, be very content and grateful with what we do have. And that's been a message that I took forward to running for city council this year, was that normal people can do great things and that normal people also matter in the decision-making process. And so when we went to the doors and we said, what do you want to see from this neighborhood? Obviously some answers we weren't looking for, but some of them we really were. Little things like we've wanted a basketball hoop in our park for the last 4 years and nobody wants to put one in. Little kind of everyday problems that make a huge difference if we can find a way to solve it. And so it was nice to be able to bring hope to our community, that somebody was listening, that somebody was taking their feedback seriously, and that somebody was willing to go to bat for them on their behalf, which is what I've been doing for 9 years as a volunteer already.
Absolutely. And I know you had your kids involved with campaigning as well as your kids, like you were talking about before, involved with Dad Club. So it's not just about learning how to be a good dad, but it's about, I guess, raising kids who will know how to be great parents or members of the community.
Yeah, in all honesty, I really took this on for them. I moved a lot as a kid. My parents split when I was 5, and we moved to New Zealand right after their divorce. And we moved every kind of 3 to 6 months. My parents would get laid off or fired, and we'd have to move again, just jumping from home to home, school to school. I had a really hard time making friends. And so I wanted to give my kids the confidence and the opportunity to experience everything that we didn't. We knew we're staying in London, we knew we're staying in Old South, and let's just try to make the most of it. And what was really cool is that because we've been having events for so long, it's normal to my kids to talk to strange kids, to invite them to play. My daughter, for the longest time, would walk up to any kid at any playground and say, hey, are you a Dad Club kid? Some kids would be like, what's a Dad Club kid? And she'd be like, want to play anyways? Right? And so they know to include others. They know that it's okay to go first and to invite a kid to join their games. And they're confident enough to walk up to somebody, say, my name's Jordan, what's your name? Hey, let's go play, right? And that's really my biggest hope in this whole process, was to give them that sense of community and to give them a place to belong and to give them the social skills that they'll require to thrive. And it's nice because they've almost taken it above and beyond. Now we'll be driving down the road and they'll just start yelling, Daddy, I'm thinking I'm gonna run a deer over or something. No, there's somebody over there that needs help. They'll see somebody holding a sign saying, hungry, please help, and they'll want to go over and help them because they share the same belief with me that we can either try to save the world or do everything we can to try, right? And so they're relentlessly optimistic and they're energized and they're just kind kids, and that's really all I was hoping for in this entire process, and it worked out.
And that's what I think being a dad, being a mom, being a parent, being a grown-up, being a mentor, caregiver for children really is all about. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing with Dad Club. Dads, moms, parents, if you're out there and you're hoping for, a great organization to get involved with this year and going forward, Jeremy McCall is here. Dad Club is here for you. Look it up. Maybe join, maybe get involved, and thank you so much for being here. We've got to take another break, but we'll be right back with more LdnOnt TV.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
It was our 35th anniversary. To celebrate, we were on our way to Mama Rosie's, where we had our first date. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and listened. It helped us get to safety. So when I think of our anniversary, because now we have even more to celebrate.
Most people that have received treatment for drug use problems are probably going to have a lapse.
Join addictions counselor Dean Anderson for Invisible, Breaking Through the Stigma of Addiction, on Rogers TV.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Mario Elia, and I'm the host of a new show here on Rogers TV that we're calling Keeping London Healthy with Dr. Mario. So tune in Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. and we'll see you then.
You're watching Rogers TV.
welcome back to LdnOnt TV. I was chatting with the founder of a fantastic group that dads have been able to get involved with over the last few years. Now we're joined by Erin, and Erin has been a member of another wonderful organization that you have for sure heard of, the Girl Guides, for 17 years, did you say?
It's a total of 17 years. It would have been about 15 as a girl, and then the rest has been as a leader with the 98th London Girl Guides.
Fantastic. So a lot of people, I guess, have heard of Girl Guides, but Girl Guides for you. So maybe give me the sales pitch for young people who might want to be interested in getting involved, or maybe parents who have been thinking about getting their kids involved with Girl Guides.
So Girl Guides is overall, it's a great organization. Not only is it just for those who are female, but anyone who is female identifying is allowed in Girl Guides.
Fantastic.
So that even includes if you just go as the pronouns of they, them, but sometimes use she, her, you're allowed to join Girl Guides. And it's for anyone between, I believe the youngest is 5 and the oldest is 15. And there are many levels, from Sparks as the youngest to Rangers the oldest. And overall, it is one of the best experiences I've ever had. We do camps. My unit is, we're doing a sleepover at the church, because us, like a couple other groups in London, are in the church or in churches, while some groups are in schools just because of where they can go.
Right.
But my unit is also going to one of the old age homes or care homes in the city, and we're signing Christmas cards for them and doing a craft and singing to them. And in previous years, we have signed over 400 Christmas cards for the Cherry Hill retirement home, and every year we sign cards and give them. But Girl Guides is overall just a great thing.
So great opportunity for young people to join at any time.
Yeah. I know my unit and a couple other units are still taking at any point at any time. But another cool thing, I guess, that I didn't mention was within Girl Guides there are 5 world centers. So there's Pax Lodge in London, UK.
Right.
There's Sangam in India. There is our chalet in Switzerland. Our cabana in Mexico, which I had the chance of going to in my grade 9 year. So that was 2014, 2015.
Fantastic.
And then there is another one, which I don't know the name of, but every 2 years it switches where it is in Africa.
Oh my goodness.
So it's constantly switching. It didn't switch around during the main section of COVID.
Right.
But it is still there, and it's moving around every couple of years. And it's mainly to bring more people into guiding. So while we do have these world centers, it's like the main bit of Girl Guides is within Canada, with the headquarters being in Toronto.
All right, well, we've got a wonderful opportunity to join a worldwide organization. So thanks a lot, Erin, for being here and telling us a little bit more about Girl Guides and and your involvement as well. And thank you, viewers, for joining us for this week's episode of LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh. I hope you've had a great, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and hope you'll tune in again next week.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Yo. Yep. Okay, I'll be there.
Monday.
Holidating Purpose is a new show all about supporting organizations seeking to have social impact in the work that they do. Whether nonprofit, for-profit,